Vontae Davis had a well above average NFL career. He was in the league for 10 years, making 2 Pro Bowls, 22 interceptions, and had a reputation as an elite cornerback in the league. As great as Vontae Davis was at one point, however, this video is going to be focusing more on the end of his career, because that is one of the most unique stories in NFL history. This is FootballLore, and we're going to talk about the time a player retired mid-game. The year was 2018. Vontae Davis had signed a 1-year deal with the Buffalo Bills in the offseason after spending the previous 6 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts. The Bills got him on a pretty low-paying contract for a man of his skill level, but his last year in Indianapolis called for a drastic decrease in pay. In 2017, he had gotten benched in Week 9 in favor of an unproven rookie, and had surgery to repair an old groin injury. This, in addition to him just aging in a way no one can avoid, left question marks. But for just $3.5 million, Buffalo could have a veteran cornerback with high potential. Most people at this point assumed he would ride out the twilight of his career in Buffalo and cash the checks coming his way, the way most players do when they are nearing the end of their career. His performance at the training camp was solid, and he managed to secure himself a spot in the depth chart that would see him getting playing time regularly. Most fans were somewhat optimistic to have more depth at cornerback, and in the first game of the season, Vontae did put up a solid performance. Behind the scenes, though, there was a situation brewing that would come to fruition in the first half of Week 2. Vontae Davis definitely had the ability to still play football physically, but his heart just wasn't committed the same way it had been previously. I know a lot of people watching this will probably be thinking to themselves, how could anyone not have their heart in the game? I think that truthfully at this point, there wasn't much really worth keeping him invested. He had made millions of dollars throughout his career. His biggest contract with Indianapolis was a 4-year, $39 million deal with $20 million guaranteed. Compare that to the $3.5 million he would make for the season in Buffalo, and it doesn't seem that worth it. Yes, $3.5 million is a lot of money, but for someone like him, it probably wasn't really going to move the needle in terms of his lifestyle or investments at this point. Money aside as well, there is the inevitable fact that you can't always play as well as a 22, 28-year-old professional athlete. Imagine dedicating your life to a sport, playing at the peak, literally making Pro Bowls in the NFL, and then realizing at some point that you will never be that good again. Yes, you are still capable of playing at a high level, but if you knew that you were never going to be as dominant as before, it could be hard to stay invested. Combine those factors with having a family, businesses, investments, all of the other things that just come with growing older, and you can see how football maybe wasn't as important as before. Whatever the factors were, they came to a head during the first half of a game against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Bills were getting absolutely blown out, 28-6 before halftime. The defense couldn't make a stop no matter how hard they tried, and on the sidelines, Vontae Davis seemed less thrilled than you would have even expected. He's talked about this in many interviews since, and he says that he was sitting there thinking about the sport, his investment in it, how far he had come, and had a realization. He really did not want to be playing football anymore, and decided that this was going to be the last game he ever played in the NFL. He literally got up, went to the locker room, changed his clothes, and left. When he had first started saying he was done, everyone thought he meant for the game or had been kidding. It was only when he began calling his family and saying he was really done with football that they realized he was serious. Vontae called his brother, NFL tight end Vernon Davis, and told him that he was retiring. His own brother even thought that he wasn't being serious at first, considering he had just been watching him play an hour ago. Many people speculated that he would be back, and that he would regret quitting in the middle of a game. Vontae, however, really doesn't see it that way even to this day. When asked about it a year later, he said he had no regrets and had realized he was mentally finished with the game and couldn't be there anymore. When asked to explain how it had felt to quit that day, he replied he felt like a free bird. As much as I love football, I wouldn't want anyone to stay stuck in something that is making them feel like they've lost their freedom. He says that since retiring from the NFL, he's focused on business and has opened a wellness spa that he focuses his time on. I know some people consider what he did disrespectful to the game, and while quitting mid-game definitely isn't great, I do think he did the right thing for himself. So many times we see great players try to keep playing until they force themselves to hate the game or destroy their own legacy with poor play. Vontae has the self-awareness to realize when he really didn't want to be there anymore, and I have to give credit to anyone willing to walk away from millions because it's just not their vibe any longer. There are some NFL legend who would have had a much more positive legacy and remembrance if they hadn't had 3-4 years of absolutely mediocre play on bad franchise and left like Vontae Davis did. That is the tale of the time a player literally retired in the middle of a game. Shockingly, it isn't the only time it's happened. If you guys want us to cover the other few times something like this has occurred, let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to subscribe if you like football lore, and press like if you learned something you didn't before. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.